Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Let's talk Super Bowl 54 and how the entire season was foretold through ESPN's September 3rd, 2019 article entitled Year of the Black QB. We took this apart on Patreon September 3rd, 2019, and we talked about how this reminded us of the year of Super Bowl 50. ESPN put out a story about Peyton Manning at the beginning of the year. They coded the Super Bowl numbers all over it. And by October, we had figured out that season that it would be Broncos over Panthers. Von Miller would be the MVP, and just about everything else about that Super Bowl, which is why USA Today wrote the hit piece on me, making fun of my pick, even though it was correct. So ESPN did it again this year. Year of the Black QB, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and think about it. Year of the Black QB. What happens to start Black History Month February 1st? Lamar Jackson is made league MVP. That's this man right here in the number 8 jersey. And then the next day, Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl and becomes Super Bowl MVP as well. Now, this article was put out September 3rd, 9/3. Notice in Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, which comes from Kabbalah. Again, in Kabbalah's Book of Formation, it states God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. If you've heard that term, the Cabal, the secret political faction, that term, the Cabal, comes from Kabbalah. The Cabal owns all of your sports teams. Yes, they do. And this is how they script their games that are for entertainment purposes. They are not real competition. The athleticism and talent's real. The competition is not. The fix is way in. So anyway, 9/3, Black History Month 93, and in Black History Month, the two men pictured to start the season take the league's top honors. Now remember, February sums to 42, and I've been talking about this for years. We now have 3 black quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl, which we'll get to. Today's the 33rd day of the year, and since it's a leap year, it leaves 333 days left in the year, so that's a lot of threes. Patrick Mahomes became the 3rd black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And yes, I know he's mixed, but I'm just saying, he has African genetics. In the background, I'm watching, you can't see it on here, but just the TV's going in the background. They just showed the instant replay of Patrick Mahomes purposefully throwing the interception at number 54 of the 49ers, which made me laugh during the game. But anyway, Patrick Mahomes, his full name equals 333. His full name, not Patrick Mahomes, but his entire name. His full name equals 333. Today leaves 333 days left in the year, or the day he won the Super Bowl did, February 2nd. And then February 2nd is the 33rd day of the year. The name Patrick in the most Pierce ciphers, 33. Patrick Mahomes became the 33rd quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, because even though it's Super Bowl 54, many quarterbacks have won multiple Super Bowls. So Patrick, 33, became the 33rd quarterback to win a Super Bowl. The name Jimmy doesn't equal 33, so that was another reason that we like the Chiefs. And for all of you guys who are saying, oh, why did you upload this video, the last one that I made public as the game was winding down, people are complaining that I put out the pick after the game was all over. Again, for you guys, take a look at the screen. You can see the videos recorded Saturday. That video's been up on Patreon since the day before the game. And also for 2 weeks, we did 6 videos decoding the Super Bowl. And in each of those 6 videos, I expressed why I like the Chiefs. Again, I like the Chiefs a lot the entire season because of the ESPN article. Anyway, something we've talked about many times is the only 2 black quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl before today, they had 42 connections. Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl, played for the Washington Redskins. They won with 42 points. Doug Williams had 4 passing touchdowns in the second quarter of that game, 4-2. The next black quarterback to win a Super Bowl was Russell Wilson of the Washington State Seattle Seahawks. You see a Washington thing going on here? Remember, 42 is the number coded all over black history. Washington is the 42nd state in order of statehood. February, Black History Month equals 42. The Seahawks game was the first Super Bowl played on the 33rd day of the year, Groundhog Day. Today's was the second ever. And on both of these Groundhog Day dates, black quarterbacks have won. So keep that in mind in the future. But what's interesting about Redskins, Seahawks, and Chiefs, the Redskins and Chiefs is clear, right? Very clear native symbolism. The Seahawks symbol comes from the local native tribe in Seattle. And if you're not aware, Seattle, the city, is named after Chief Seattle, a Native American. So all three teams have native connections. And, you know, there's a lot of historians that say what's been scrubbed from the history books is that there were a lot of black people already living in this country when the white Europeans arrived here. You know, the history books would have you believe that all the black people who are here were brought over on slave ships. Some historians say that's a load of bullshit. And looking at what they're doing with the NFL, having all the black quarterbacks win with native teams, I think the NFL, who again is controlled by the cabal, I think they're trying to let us know something. What do you think? Remember, Patrick Mahomes in that comeback game against the Texans by the numbers also had 4 passing touchdowns in the second quarter. And today, whoops, what happened? Oh, there it is. Today, Patrick Mahomes had 42 passing attempts. 42. The last attempt was just to air out the remaining seconds in the game. You might have noticed that he became 26 for 41, passing the go-ahead touchdown to number 26. And then 26 put the game away for the second year in a row. Again, if you haven't read my book, the first chapter of the book is the significance of the number 26. And something else we've been talking about on Patreon is Kobe Bryant. Kobe being Bryant equals 54. Kobe died at age 41. Kobe Bryant without the middle name equals 41, like Super Bowl. And Bryant alone equals 26. 26. Dead at 41, dead on his 157th day of his age, dead after King James passed him in his hometown of Philly. The real King James died at age 58. And the month before his death, on his 113th day of his age, Kobe Bryant was in the news for directing traffic after a bad accident where he was nearby. On his 113th day of his age, he was connected to an accident story the month before his supposed fatal accident. Of course, there's a whole lot more to this. But again, you add in the middle name, Kobe Bean Bryant's 54, like the Super Bowl, 243, like how old the country is. Remember, they're talking about replacing Kobe on the NBA logo 243 days after Jerry West's 81st birthday was his fatal accident. Jerry West is the current logo of the NBA, and then Kobe also had the predictive programming in the Kanye West short film produced by Nike in 2011, which ends with an exploding helicopter. Kobe died 135 days from Kanye West's birthday. And again, he crashed right by Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's house. Anyway, getting a little tangential, but just some reminders. Bryant's 26 in the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules numerology. Kobe Bryant's 41. Again, Mahomes went 26 for 41, connecting with 26. Number 26 to do the go-ahead touchdown. And let me show you Patrick Mahomes' full name. Because we've been talking about this, his full name also has that gematria of 126, like how Kobe died on 1/26. And then again, the day he won left 333 days left in the year. So that was a nice little Kobe ritual. Like I told you the day Kobe died, this stuff is a web. The people who are killed year after year, if they're even really dying, you know, I don't know for sure that part, but I do know how the rituals work. Every year people are taken before these big sports championships that have the numbers that connect to the game. And you just see how those numbers that connect to those people end up becoming part of the game. Like, consider the college championship, which was just won with 42 points in NOLA. ESPN in the background right now has a stat up that says Patrick Mahomes was 5-0 this season when trailing by 2 scores or more. Again, Chiefs equals 50, San Francisco 50. This was Super Bowl 54, the 50th of the modern era. The Chiefs hadn't won a Super Bowl for 50 years. They just taunt you with these numbers, how they put them up on the screen in ESPN with the big bold print. You know, they're talking about first Super Bowl in 50 years. The next stat, 5-0 when trailing by 2 touchdowns. It's just mockery, man. But anyway, the college championship this year was in NOLA, the nickname for New Orleans. NOLA, just using the alphabetic order, it's 42. Louisiana, LSU won with 42 points. Remember, 4 days before the game, the local rapper, Fifth Ward Weeby, I happen to be staying at a hotel in the Fifth Ward right now, educating people about this knowledge on the street. A lot of people really appreciating it. For all of you guys who think Gematria is bullshit, realize you guys are just trolls. You guys don't exist in real life. I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people in the last 4 or so days that I've been down here. I've only had 2 little college jackasses that were buddies, shoulder to shoulder, act like the troll dipshits that post so often in the comments. And they were feeding off each other, and they were just 2 little douchebags. But they've been the only negative experience. And I wasn't mean to them, but, you know, they just remind me of the losers that post in the comments. They have too few IQ points to grasp the very simple elementary concepts that are undeniably presented year after year as we make correct prediction after correct prediction. And for the record, this was a tough year with the NFL season, but I will say after week 3, I did advise people on Patreon to put in a future for 49ers and Chiefs because of the whole 50 ritual. Anyway, college championship 42 ends up being a big 42 ritual in this one. And remember, just to come back up to here, year of the black QB, Lamar Jackson clinched the #1 seed in the AFC exactly 42 days before the Super Bowl. Something we pointed out why it looked like the Ravens would win that game to clinch for the 42 ritual, because they use these numbers so consistently. And it goes way beyond sports. It's like I was walking through New Orleans today, walking from the Fifth Ward to the French Quarter, and I passed a church along the way, and it had a big plaque, and I started to read the plaque. I posted it on my Facebook page today and my Instagram. I just started an Instagram if you want to look for it. But it says right on the plaque for the church that they started allowing blacks is the word they use, blacks to attend the church in 1842. So you see this 42 thing goes on for a long time. It's just like Moses Walker, the first American or black American to play in white major league. He played in exactly 42 games, and his name, Moses Walker's 42. Remember, 42 coded into so many things in black history. So many things. But they had to have Mahomes throw up that 42nd attempt tonight. Sick stuff, man. Sick stuff. Okay, so again, the 3 black quarterbacks to win, they've all played for teams with native symbolism. They're trying to tell us something with that clearly. 2 of the black quarterbacks to win have won on the 33rd day of the year, Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes in recent years, in February, Black History Month. This year, the United States of America is 243 years old. Native American equals 243. Kayla, follow Kayla on Facebook. If you go on my Facebook and friend me, you'll be able to find Kayla's page. Kayla's doing awesome work. She's native herself. She's done a lot of decoding and really taken this understanding of how they code throughout native history, and she made so mase brilliant observations. 4-base ciphers, all these ciphers are interesting. 154 matters because both teams, the Niners and the Chiefs, ended up being 15-4 for the year. 64 matters for several reasons. Kansas City Chiefs is 64. When you write out 49ers as words, it's 64. This Super Bowl was synced up with Joe Montana's 64th birthday, the man who played for the Niners and the Chiefs. His 64th birthday is in 131 days, Super Bowl 131. Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl, 64 years old. Think about the Civil Rights Act in 64. And don't forget, in the most pierced cipher, the dark blue cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, civil rights is 64. Barack Hussein Obama is 64. Obama ran on hope. Hope 44, he became the 44th president. 44 years after the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Hope 64. So this number has all sorts of symbolism. And Native Americans has it as well. Native Americans also 251, the 54th prime, Super Bowl 54. number 54 of the Chiefs. The Super Bowl was on the 251st day of his age. Again, Patrick Mahomes clearly threw the ball to number 54 of the 49ers. I mean, he threw it right to him. And you see this year after year, not only in Super Bowls, I mean, you see it week after week throughout the season. Never forget how the Saints and Colts Super Bowl ended. You know, the Saints, the Aints, who never won nothing, they finally won their first Super Bowl over Archie Manning's son, Peyton Manning. Archie Manning played for the Saints for a number of years. Guess where I watched the game at tonight in New Orleans? The Manning's Bar. And I'll show you some video footage that I got. I even recorded a fight that broke out at the end of the game between the drunk fans. But luckily, somebody's woman came in there and got them to break it up, and then they gave each other a hug. It was actually all nice and captured on camera. I'll show it to you later. But Kansas City Chiefs, 64-98. Native Americans, 64-98. Not an accident. Not an accident. Not an accident that they're winning while the nation's 243 years old. And remember, they just had that big Kobe Bean Bryant tribute with the 26th pass being a completion to number 41, or the 26th pass being a completion to number 26 on the 41st attempt. Again, this is just how it is. For all of you guys who sit there and go, it has to be God doing this. No, it doesn't. Okay, it has to be people that have second grade arithmetic skills. You know, people who don't work, people who live off your work, your labor, your taxes, your consumption. There's a class of those people in this world. You know, so many of you forget that there's 50 people in this nation that have more wealth than over 90% of us. These people don't work. They live off of our work. You know, they're the ones that own these sports teams, collect billions of dollars on nights like this alone. They got all the year to plan and do their arithmetic and script it all out. Plus, they have computers to help them out. This is not the work of God. I hate when people leave those comments, like God would be doing this. And, you know, to talk about another 64 thing, the most important 64 thing, watch this. I'll show you. Patrick Mahomes passes Len Dawson's 1964 touchdown record. I just want to pull this up. So this happened November 11th, 2018. And at this game, his girlfriend, Patrick Mahomes' girlfriend, was in the stand, and she was with her father, and the father dropped dead in the stands when Mahomes beat the 1964 touchdown passing record. And just look at this. From November 11th, 2018 to the Super Bowl was exactly 64 weeks. Exactly. And remember, 64 is a fateful number as well. Kill is 64. That game perfectly synced with today's Super Bowl. And do you know how many points the Chiefs now have in Super Bowls? They scored 10 in Super Bowl I. They scored 23 in Super Bowl IV. So they had 33 points coming into this Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year, led by Patrick, who became the 33rd quarterback to win a Super Bowl. If you doubt it, count it up. Count up the quarterbacks who've won Super Bowls. Again, because some quarterbacks have won numerous Super Bowls. Nick Foles, for example, of the Eagles equals 32. Nick Foles became the 32nd quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And then Brady won again. He'd already won. Now Patrick becomes the 33rd on the 33rd day of the year. And remember, Kobe just went out in the big 33 ritual. And I think we're going to see Patrick Mahomes bring home quite a few more Super Bowls in his time, honestly. I'm also pretty certain I know who wins next year's Super Bowl, and I'll be talking about that on Patreon if you want to sign up. I mean, for all of you guys who don't sign up on Patreon and gamble, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, nobody has a better proven track record than I do, literally in the history of this world. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. That's not an arrogant statement. It's just a fact. And all the trolls and liars and bullshitters who are probably, I'm not watching the feed right now, but just all the pack of trolls that hang around just type bullshit all day. It's just like anytime I post a sports video, there's all these comments. Zach missed the last 3 World Series. False. We've dominated the last 3 World Series, you mean. This year I helped people hit, 30 plus to 1 odds on saying Nationals would beat Astros in Game 7 before the playoffs even began. And then when the Nationals were down and everyone thought the Astros were going to wrap it up, I said, nope, take advantage of these odds. These are great odds. Nationals are winning this thing. The numbers tell the story, So for any of you who are fooled by the pack of trolls who are employed to harass me 24/7, improve that brain cell count. The reason I'm harassed and there's so many people that lie and slander my accomplishments is because of just that, because I'm doing things that have never been done before. Nobody ever came along and proved how sports were rigged and scripted by the code. I was the first person on the planet, a planet that's had billions of people live on it, to do that. And I've demonstrated for free, year after year, the dominance you can achieve with this code. Okay, moving back on to the presentation. Again, Doug Williams, he wore 16 with the Niners. He wore number 19 with the Chiefs. This was the 2019 season. Kansas City equals 67, the 19th prime. Montana won Super Bowl 19 over Miami, like how this year's Super Bowl was in Miami, and he won it 38-16, 54 points. And they said this was the first all-red Super Bowl. I just want you to see the gematria of red. You see the 27? The AFC and NFC are now tied at 27. Remember the first game of this season? The Packers beat the Bears 10-3. That was 103 days from the death of Bart Starr, Super Bowl I MVP, who did beat the Chiefs. It was 103 days from Bart Starr's death when the Packers won 10-3. 103 is the 27th prime number. In the all-red Super Bowl, 27. In Miami, 27. The AFC tied the NFC at 27-27 in terms of Super Bowl wins per conference. And again, 103 is the 27th prime number. Notice Rodgers is also 103. So is State Farm. All year you saw the State Farm commercials with Rodgers and Mahomes. All year there were 103 rituals. Emmanuel Sanders traded to the 49ers 103 days before the Super Bowl. He came from the Broncos. And remember, the Broncos had lost to the last two black quarterbacks, Doug Williams and Russell Wilson. So you brought over that Broncos tradition, which became part of this Super Bowl. And don't forget Super Bowl 50, which we called everything correctly about in October. The Broncos did beat the Black Panthers, led by Cam Newton, not to be confused with Huey P. Newton, who established the Black Panther Party in Oakland in the Bay Area where Super Bowl 50 was. But Broncos, Niners, think Kaepernick, because Kaepernick was a 49er, and he became a 49er through a draft pick with the Broncos in the draft. The 49ers drafted Kaepernick by trading for that pick from the Broncos. So there's this relationship. The Broncos are connected to so many of these race-based Super Bowls with that white symbol on the head. Black, white, ritual. But anyhow, we were calling this the Joe Montana Bowl before the media was. Once the media started, we noticed that Joe Montana, he won Super Bowl 22, not to be confused with this year's Super Bowl on 2-2. But he won 42-10, 52 combined points. The head referee for this year's Super Bowl was Bill Vinovich, 52. His initials are BV. B's the second letter, V's the 22nd. A lot of twos. 222. Andy Reid got his 222nd one. We'll get to that. There's so many twos in this Super Bowl. It's mind-blowing. The 49ers came into this Super Bowl with 219 points scored. They scored 20 in this game, so they now have 239 points scored. 239 is the 52nd prime. And what I pointed out a number of times on Patreon is that when this article came out that said Joe Montana guaranteed his team would win the Super Bowl, which was supposedly a joke because he played for the 49ers and Chiefs, so his Chiefs uniform. Here they have Montana with a Chiefs scarf on, so it's Chiefs again. And then here they have him waving the Chiefs flag. So all the mainstream media put out images of Joe Montana with Chiefs stuff. And realize the mainstream media year after year treats the general public like they are stupid. And why do they do that? Well, because the general public is stupid. How else can people think the NFL is anything different than the WWE in 2020? It's again, it's pathetic. I mean, you have to be brain dead, retarded to think the NFL is legitimate. It's very pathetic. It has been for all of my life. It gets worse year after year. And people just continue to make excuses, and I don't know. It's crazy. You know what? And if I just offended anyone who's still here who didn't just hang up the video, I got to let you know I met a man today. His name was Broderick. And I was walking through the 5th Ward, and he was standing out in front of his house, and he had his music on, and he was drinking a little bit, and he was dancing around, and he had a New York Giants jersey on. And it was a Lawrence Taylor jersey. And I knew he was a football fan, right? Because he's not where it's Super Bowl, but he's a football fan, but he's wearing his team's jersey. He's not some bandwagon fan. So I just asked him, I said, "Hey man, who's going to win the Joe Montana Bowl today?" And he said, "Oh, I'll tell you who's going to win this game. It's going to be the 49ers, because you can't stop their rushing attack, and their defense is too good. Nick Bosa's the real deal." And this man, he was truly brilliant. He had an amazing memory. He just went through stat after stat. I listened to this man talk for, I don't know, probably an hour and a half. I only put a few words in there, and I did introduce Gematria to him and got him to think about it. Because he was just, man, he was going through every Super Bowl. He remembered the scores. He remembered the big plays, the names of like every player on the team, the coaches. And what was amazing is, what's funny about this story is, earlier I told you about the church with the 42 plaque on it. This man actually lives right across the street from that church. And I asked him how old he was when he's saying all this, and would you believe it? He told me he was 42 years old, and I was like, what in the world? I didn't tell him anything about 42 after he said that because I didn't want to make him feel bad. But when he brought up the Bears' revolutionary 4-6 defense and how they wasted the Patriots 46-10, I said, I got him to pause right there. It was the one moment I got him to pause. I said, "Did you just listen to what you said about how Chicago with the 4-6 defense wasted the Patriots 46-10?" And it was just incredible. I mean, this guy just like remembered every score, just like knows every position player on each team. Just, I was blown away. But you guys think I have a good memory. This guy put me to shame. But when he did that, he said, that is interesting. And then he said something like, numbers have powers. They have qualities. And I said, yeah, you're right. And then I was wearing my Gematria Effect news sweatshirt. And I said, you see this word up here, Gematria? I said, have you ever heard of this word? He goes, no. I go, it's the practice of coding numbers into words. And I said, I just want to show you something about Chicago. And then I just spelled it out for him. C3, H8, I9. G7, A1. I'm tired right now. I'm trying to spell Chicago and I can't even think. But anyway, just when you add it up with the alphabetic order, Chicago with the alphabetic order is 46. Like how they won with the revolutionary 4-6 defense and wasted the Patriots with 46 points. And when I said that, then it reminded him of Jordan scoring 46 points in the symbolic game. Anyway, he was a brilliant guy, and he was a good athlete in his time. He was telling me about his linebacker days, and but somehow he's still under the spell of not seeing through the rigging of these games. So I respected him, so I didn't want to argue with him about the legitimacy of the game. I just wanted to share some knowledge with him and listen to him and compliment him. But anyway, I mean, most people, though, it's just like, God, how can you not see it? Okay, moving on. So we're talking about all the 52s on this Super Bowl as the Niners fall to 5-2 in Super Bowls. Again, the ref on the field, the jersey number tells the story again. The Niners now with 239 points in Super Bowls, the 52nd prime. Joe Montana's guarantee headline was a clue. Remember, The Rock was connected to this Super Bowl. His father died at age 75 on the anniversary of the 49ers. On the anniversary of the 49ers winning the NFC Championship, the year that they beat the Chargers 49-26, 75 combined points. That was the 75th NFL season. And The Rock's father dies at age 75. And this year the 49ers had number 54. The Super Bowl was 75 days after his birthday. But anyway, The Rock, his birthday is May 2nd. And The Rock also has the TV show Ballers. In the final season, which ended on Jerry Rice's birthday, 112 days before the Super Bowl, and you can look this up, it's all factual. Covered this on Patreon. We measured the dates. I didn't put it up here, but it's 100% fact. Look up the TV show Ballers. The day it ended, you'll see it's Jerry Rice's birthday. You'll measure from that date to the Super Bowl, 2-2. You'll see it's 112 days. But in that season, The Rock's character buys the Kansas City Chiefs. And again, that show concluded 112 days before the Super Bowl. Chiefs is 112, Super Bowl's 112, Ballers 112. And if you watch tonight's game, after the Chiefs put it away with that long touchdown run, they stopped the clock on a minute 12. Minute 12, and they kept it up there. They do this all the time. They stop the clocks at just the right point to code the numbers. And, just to show you something, let me go to my blog post from September 3rd. Just want you to see this. Year of the Black QB. Okay, so here's the article. So we decoded this September 3rd. This is from September 3rd. It's the day ESPN had this up on the front page. In the Most Pure Cipher, they emphasize this phrase. They make the game exciting, and we pointed out that day. 112, like Chiefs, like Super Bowl, who were front runners. What else is interesting is they coded a 383 here. That's the 76th prime, and San Francisco's 76. So actually, right in that headline, they coded the whole Super Bowl. And let me show you something about Shakira. Shakira, her birthday was today. She was one of the halftime performers. And look at this. We decoded this at the beginning of the year, too. Again, this is why after week 3, and this year was tough because there were some riddles for other teams. But week 3, I did advise putting out a parlay for Niners and Chiefs on Patreon because we saw some good, strong riddles there that paid tribute to the number 50, Chiefs 50, San Francisco 50, 50th Super Bowl of the modern era. Again, the Chiefs hadn't won a Super Bowl for 50 years. But anyway, Shakira is 67, 31, 122, and 50. And this is why you need to know the 4 base ciphers. Kansas City is 67, 122. Remember, 67 is the 19th prime. This was mostly the 2019 season. Joe Montana wore 19 with the Chiefs. But San Francisco is 122 and 50 like Shakira. And then Chiefs is 50 and 31. And again, Shakira's got the 50 and 31. So Kansas City and Chiefs has all the values that go with Shakira. Today was her 43rd birthday. Remember, football has that Gematria 43. Chiefs put together that nice 83-yard drive. Number 29 put it away with the interception. Last year, your Super Bowl score was 13-3, 16 combined points for Super Bowl 53, the 16th prime. Last year, we nailed the Super Bowl with just one parlay from the start of the season. Patriots over Rams. Patriots 53, Los Angeles 53. Last year was easy. Recent years, you saw Tom Brady become 5-2 in Super Bowls. That was the year of the 25-point comeback over the Falcons. The date of that game was February 5th, a date that could be written 2-5 or 5-2. But that year, the Royal Rumble had a Boston area wrestler beat an Atlanta area wrestler. And then Boston Patriots, now the New England Patriots outside of Boston, beat the Atlanta Falcons. Tom Brady became 5-2. The next year, Super Bowl 52. A Super Bowl matchup that we were able to call after week 3. Patriots versus Eagles. On 23/9 was the date we were able to call it. That was the date Trump took on the NFL over the protesters and the flag. The flag was sewn in Philadelphia at 239 Arch Street. 239 is the 52nd prime. That year, Philadelphia hosted the Royal Rumble, and then they won Super Bowl 52. Now this year, Roman Reigns was scripted to win the Royal Rumble. He's a 49ers fan, that they've made that public, that he's a 49ers fan, but then they changed the script. And instead, the man who won was the first Scottish wrestler whose name equaled 67 like Kansas City. So they flipped the script in the WWE. Roman Reigns, the 49er, did not win the script, and instead, a man won the Royal Rumble whose name equaled 67, and a woman's name won the Super Bowl, or a woman won the Super Bowl whose name equaled 67, just like Kansas City. And then the Niners fall to 5-2. So you get another 52 tribute with the Royal Rumble. And think about Aaron Rodgers and State Farm and doing the WWE belt. Again, they're telling you, Aaron Rodgers saw the script before the NFC Championship. He didn't look it. That's why he looked sick when he was walking down the tunnel. And everyone can go back who DVR'd the game and look at that. You could see Rodgers' face. He wasn't happy. He must have saw that he had to go into the half 27-0 for the all-red Super Bowl. And notice, red 27, like the AFC and NFC are now tied 27 Super Bowls apiece, and then the 54 as well. Your first red Super Bowl, both teams, for Super Bowl 54. It's a joke. Gematria exposes what should already be known. So again, Super Bowl 54, the 50th in the modern era. San Francisco 50. They were once 5-0 in Super Bowls. Now they've lost the last two. They lost the Harbaugh Bowl. Jim versus John. That was Super Bowl 47. John, the name with 47, won Super Bowl 47. And now they've lost to the Chiefs. And I want to tell you guys something, but sign up for the Patreon. I got good news for next year's Super Bowl. Pretty sure I know who wins it. I just got to figure out who they're going to play against. That's the only thing I'm not certain about right now. But first Chiefs win in 50 years. Both teams started 5-0 this year. The Niners actually got their 229th win of the modern era this year on September 22nd, 22/9. 229 is the 50th prime, and they did it over Pittsburgh. This was the Week 3 game, and this is where we said, ooh, man, that is a huge tribute to 50. That's a huge number with the Niners and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are front runners. I did tell people, though, that week, I did advise putting in a parlay for Niners and Chiefs, and possibly Niners and Patriots, just in case they did the Brady Garoppolo thing. But again, it was the year of the black QB, and we like the Chiefs more. So that was explained, but that tribute to 50 was just so huge when they did that with the Steelers on September 22nd. Oh, I forgot to say something else up here with this point. Again, the Niners now have 239 points scored in Super Bowls, the 52nd prime. The last time the Niners and Chiefs played each other, I'll show you this. Niners, Chiefs box score, September 23rd, 2018. This was the game Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt. See how the Niners went down with 27 points? 23/9, like 239 the 52nd prime. From that game to the Super Bowl is exactly 71 weeks, which is the 20th prime number. It's 2020. The Niners go down with 20 points. Chiefs score 31. And remember, Chiefs has that gematria at 31. That's the 11th prime. They won by 11 points. 11's the master number. 11 men on the field. It's the year of the black quarterback. I just had a fruit fly in my mouth. I'm in a hotel. Oh, man. Okay. What else we got here? Hold on. I need to go to the outlet and change my location because my computer is running out of battery charge, and I still got a few more things to show you guys here. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's talk about all the twos. Again, if you watched the video that I released to the public, I said that I was leaning Chiefs mostly because of all the twos. The twos were just too hard to not deny. The Super Bowl was on 2/2/2020, so a date with 4 twos in it, right? 4 twos and 2 zeros. The 49ers got their second Super Bowl loss. The Chiefs got their second Super Bowl win. And by the way, Joe Montana predicted the Super Bowl would be Niners and Chiefs on January 2nd, a date that can be written 2-1. The Chiefs are now 2-1 in Super Bowls. But Niners get the second Super Bowl loss. Chiefs get the second Super Bowl win. 49ers got their 22nd playoff loss all time. And again, you can verify these things on... Oh, hold up. I thought I plugged in the computer. 1 second. Something's not working here. Wow. This outlet is bad. Hold on, you guys. Even though it says there's 28% charge, I've seen this computer, when I'm live streaming, just shut off with like 25% charge. Okay, is that gonna reach? Oh, shit, man. I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. This is annoying. There's only one outlet, and it's far away from where I can sit. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so all these twos. Again, I was going to show you this. ProFootballReference.com. It might not have updated, or it might have. Let's see. The Niners came into this game 33-21 in the playoffs. And let's see if this has been updated. So this has not been updated yet, but just watch. Come back to this like in 12 hours, 24 hours, and you'll see that the Niners playoff record is 33-22. They got their 22nd loss in the playoffs today and stayed at 33 wins on the 33rd day of the year. And then there's another site called M Cubed. And what's nice about their stats is they only record the stats. Probably are not up to date yet either, but let me see. I cannot think right now. I'm tired. Hold on. I cannot think right now. NFL teams. Let's see. Normally I'd know how to do this. It's because it's the middle of the night and I just haven't got enough sleep like for the last week. Anyway, this is a fact. I'll show you later when my brain's working, but the 49ers got their 222nd loss of the modern era in this game. And Andy Reid got his 222nd career win. The last time Kansas City won a championship, remember the year I told you the Mets would be in the 111th World Series in spring training and everyone laughed at me? The Royals beat the Mets in the 111th World Series on November 1st. 1-1-1, 1-1-1. Now we're talking 2-2-2. Look at this. From the day that Kansas City, the Royals, from the day that Kansas City won their last sports championship to this Super Bowl is exactly 222 weeks later. And then, to really trip you out, if you write out February 2nd, it equals 2-2-2 when you flip the alphabetic order around. So the Chiefs were the 2 seed. The Niners weren't. They were the 1 seed. But this to me was the best indicator for the Chiefs, and that's why even though we did 6 live streams, I always stayed with that. I was like, I can't really go against the Chiefs with all those 2s in light of this being a numerology game. Plus just all this 52 stuff was really jumping out too. And the riddles they did with Joe Montana, like we said earlier. And then another big one is, and again, this is the kind of stuff that a lot of people have trouble wrapping their head around. But using Donald Trump as the clues, I just want you to see how this is synced up with the impeachment. This truly is the impeachment bowl. So Nancy Pelosi's from San Francisco, and she's leading the impeachment charge against Trump. From the Super Bowl to her March 26th birthday is 54 days, right? Super Bowl 54, 54 days from Nancy Pelosi's birthday. Okay? And then Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief, the Super Bowl is 134 days from his birthday. Impeach is 134, like Make America Great Again. And then Patrick Mahomes went to White House High School. Here, just in case you doubt that. Patrick Mahomes, hold on. Patrick Mahomes High School. Mahomes attended White House High School in White House, Texas. Oh, man. And from his last birthday to the Super Bowl was 138 days. Donald Trump's 138. Remember, the Nationals won the World Series 138 days after Trump's birthday. But, yeah, it's just... And remember, the impeachment came out to the public with Nancy Pelosi the day that the World Series was ending. So, and again, Game 7 was 138 days from Trump's birthday. It's just, these people have the chessboard set so well, it's mind-blowing. And, let's see. Let me just go over a few more things. There's a whole lot more I could show you, but these are the key points. So, Okay. This Super Bowl was also 50 days after Kyle Shanahan's birthday for another 50. That's the coach of the 49ers. The Super Bowl was 163 days after his dad's birthday. His dad won Super Bowl 33. And 49ers, when written out, has that 163, just like James Garoppolo. You might recall this season when the Niners were upset on Monday Night Football on Veterans Day. Jimmy G fell to 16-3 as a starter, and that was on Veterans Day, which equals 163 as well. Some people won some big money on that upset when the Seahawks beat the Niners in San Francisco. But all these numbers play. Again, that's why you got to know the ciphers. Oh, and Mahomes, he broke the Madden curse this year. I'm sure we'll read about John Madden passing soon. Curse Breakers 54. And, oh, wow, Curse Breakers also 120. God, it's people who've been the Madden cover athletes. They've never won the Super Bowl before. But Patrick Mahomes, 126. Curse Breaker, 126. It's over. They beat the Titans to advance to the Super Bowl. The Madden curse began with a Titan, Eddie George, once upon a time. They announced who the ref would be on January 15th, Bill Vinovich for the Super Bowl. Mahomes is 115, just like Mahomes was made the Madden cover athlete April 25th, the 115th day of the year. And, yeah, I think those are, oh yeah. By the Chiefs losing, or excuse me, by the Chiefs winning, by the Chiefs beating the 49ers. The 49ers led 7-6. 7-6 versus the Chiefs before this game. They're now 7-7. And if you go back to the box score from the NFC Championship, you'll see Jimmy Garoppolo had 77 passing yards. When he was traded to the 49ers, it was 77 days after his birthday. And even his nickname, Jimmy G, is 77. And when you write out 77, it's 49. And, 49ers, Super Bowl's 49, NFL's 49. They call it America's game, America's 49. Football's credited to a Scottish Rite Freemason, Scottish is 49. With regards to the magic square of Venus being a 7x7 square, remember Venus has that gematria of 54 and 27. Venus is huge with the Freemasons. And again, now the AFC and NFC are tied 27-27. So, also this was an interesting headline that came out the day before the Super Bowl. Joe Marie, number that's shown up all year, the 27th prime, another clue. And 41 like Super Bowl. So, again, gematria, it'll take you places. It'll take you places. And there's actually a lot more I can show you guys. It's just, I'm so tired right now. I hope I'm speaking coherently, but let me see. Again, there's just all year on Patreon, we just documented 103, 103, 103. That's why I said so many times throughout the year, it's very, very likely the AFC will win the championship this year to tie it at 27-27 in Miami. Again, Emmanuel Sanders was traded to the 49ers 103 days before the Super Bowl. He came from the Broncos, which equals 103. So many 103 rituals this year. E40 put out a song about the Niners this year, and he was another 52. All these 52s, E40's 52 years old right now. And think about his name, E40. E is the fifth letter. Bay Area rapper, so his name in numbers is 5-40. So he was just one more 52 riddle. And, you had the Joe Burrow, Joe Montana thing. The Super Bowl's 54 days after Joe Burrow's birthday. Joe Burrow born December 10th, Super Bowl 54. 54 days after his birthday, he'll be part of the NFL next year. He won the Super Bowl in New Orleans on a 54-date numerology. And, of course, New Orleans equals 54. and think about how New Orleans was eliminated from the playoffs by the numbers. Big 52 ritual. When 52 show up in sports, it's almost a done deal. There was a 52 going against the Saints in that Vikings game. Minnesota beat the Saints again. Minnesota wears the purple and gold, and then right after that, LSU in the purple and gold wins the Super Bowl. And then right after that, Kobe Bryant in the purple and gold dies. And Kobe Bryant's teammate Shaq went to LSU. It's all a web. It is all a web. And what was cool is this week I got to actually talk to LSU football players in person and students and get their reaction. I had an LSU football player look me in the eye and say, "Thank you very much for this information. It's a little bit spooky, but thank you." And the reason he was so thankful is because I explained to him, I said, "You know why I'm down here sharing this? Because I'm worried that, in a few years I could be writing about somebody like you being the next dead player from drowning, synced up for your team's next championship." And they got it. And they're probably a little bit creeped out, as anyone would be, and I feel bad about that, but at the same time, it's like people got to recognize what's up. Again, notice how Kobe Bryant's 54 death is part of the Super Bowl notes I've been talking about on Patreon, because again, I knew Kobe Bryant would become part of the ritual. Just like Bryant's 26, Kobe Bryant 41, and Mahomes was 26 for 41 when he connected with number 26 to take the lead. And again, Kobe Bean Bryant's 54 like Super Bowl 54. But yeah, there's just so much creepy stuff that goes on every year around these Super Bowls. Like, look at this story. A 16-year-old native girl disappears in Montana right before the Super Bowl. Joe Montana, number 16, versus the native Chiefs. All of this stuff is sick ritual, man. Ugh. Her full name's Selena, and is she even a real person? I mean, this is the other thing, because her real name is supposedly Selena Shelley Faye Not Afraid, which is the same as San Francisco 49ers. Dred Scott, all of this stuff is tribute to history. Dred Scott is 54. Dred Scott died in Missouri. And by the way, Missouri has that 42 connection as well, like how Mahomes had 42 passing attempts tonight. But Dred Scott died in Missouri on September 17th. That's the same day Patrick Mahomes was born. Patrick Mahomes' birthday is September 17th. I'll show you real quick. Patrick Mahomes, September 17th. Dred Scott dies, Patrick Mahomes born. And that day can be written 17/9, like 179. The 41st prime Super Bowl is 41. Oops. What am I doing? Oh, that's what it is. Doug Williams. Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl. His name's also 179, like Patrick Mahomes' birthday. Isn't it mind-boggling? It is mind-boggling how all this can be. Again, a lot of these guys are born and bred to be and named accordingly. C-sections. Keeping the chessboard set. Did you hear at the end of the Super Bowl when they mentioned that Lamar Hunt is 54 years old? He's the owner of the Chiefs right now. At the very end of the game, they go, Lamar Hunt is 54 and wins Super Bowl 54. I'm wondering how many years until they start putting the Gematria on the screen. Lamar Hunt is 54 years old, has a 54 name Gematria, and just won Super Bowl 54. And again, this is something we've been talking about all year too, is this Lamar Hunt connection, because the Chiefs have been front runners. And here they are, they won it. By the way, college basketball. Last year we used the college basketball box score to further support our belief that the Patriots would beat the Rams, as they did. Last night, before the game was played, Lamar Jackson, the same day he won MVP, his Louisville Cardinals in basketball, one was 77 points. And remember, 77. By the Chiefs beating the 49ers, they evened the series record between those two teams at 7-7. And you see how the NC State Wolfpack fell to 14-8? 14-8, check this out. Kansas City is 148. And remember, their player number 54 on the Chiefs, the Super Bowl was on his 251st day of his age, which is the 54th prime. His birthday's May 28th, the 148th day of the year. You see how Kansas City's also 122, just like San Francisco? Whoops, gotta spell right. Again, they really know how to line it up, these people. And again, I'm telling you, they're using technology to ensure outcomes for perfect rituals. It's just like last year, the George Mason Patriots lost with 63 points the night before Tom Brady became 6-3 in Super Bowls with the Patriots. And when Tom Brady won the Super Bowl, he got his 237th career win, and George Mason Patriots is 237. And they were playing the VCU Rams, which is actually the same team that the NFL Rams are named after. So yes, they do use technology to ensure outcomes are perfect to the point. We show this year after year. For somebody out there who's saying it's not technology, it's spirituality, it's demonology, that is possible. And I was going to wrap this up, but we got a caller from California, so I'll let them close us out. What's up, caller?
Hey, what's happening, Zach?
What's up,
hey,
man?
I was wondering if you saw when they scored that last touchdown, the clock was 1 minute and 12 seconds.
Oh, yeah, I talked about that earlier. Just like Chiefs in Super Bowl 112, and just like what they coded into the headline at the beginning of the year of the Black QB. So
Yeah, I was at a Super Bowl party with my friends, and there's this one guy who I've been trying to tell about Gematria and how sports is rigged, but he just doesn't want to see it. He doesn't want to hear it. He fights me over it. And at the end of the game, I'm like, Speed, do you see it? And he's like, no, I don't believe it, man. It's like, when are these people going to wake up, man? It's driving me crazy.
Well, I know you got to my live stream late, man, but you should show them this video because the Chiefs right now have scored 64 points in Super Bowls and have had 62 points scored against them. Right out 49ers is a word. It's 64 and 62. And plus, just we've been talking about all the 64 stuff with the Chiefs. It's synced up with Montana's 64th birthday. Doug Williams is 64 years old right now. This game was exactly 64 weeks after Patrick Mahomes beat Len Dawson's 1964 touchdown passing record. And that was the same game where his girlfriend was in the stands with her father, and the father dropped dead. So, I mean...
Yeah. The other thing, too, was, I don't know if you saw it, but on NFL.com, there was what's it called? The title for an article said, Mahomes leads epic comeback, and then you type in epic comeback, and it sums to 50.
What was funny is ESPN just had up back-to-back how it was the first Chiefs Super Bowl win in 50 years, and then right after that they put up the stat that the Chiefs were 5-0 this year in games where they trailed by 2 or more scores. So, and I also see an epic comeback. It sums to 67, like Kansas City again, which is the 19th prime. It's the 2019 season, and Montana wore 19 with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So.
And that was the record prior to the game between Chiefs heads up against the Niners too.
Right.
Yeah, but like all the listeners, we had the Chiefs the whole way,
And my favorite part was when Patrick Mahomes connected with number 26 on his 26th completion on his 41st pass. So 26 for 41, the Kobe Bryant numbers.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, they had him throw the ball away. So he had 42 total passing attempts to become the latest black quarterback to win a Super Bowl with a 42 on it.
Yep.
So it was all through that year of the black QB, man.
It's so funny. I think it's so funny that these people, so the majority of the people I've told, they're open to hear about. I don't know, I haven't really been watching your videos about New Orleans, but I'm pretty sure people have been paying attention down there with what you've been saying. But so at the party, I told so many people about how it's scripted and this and that. I got 3 or 4 people that are starting to lean towards the way of wanting to believe it, but I still got 5 or 6 people that are like, "Oh, you're crazy.
Don't use that word believe, because there's nothing to believe. It's all evidence based. It's like
yeah. I know
you have to be a fact denier to dismiss what we're showing.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I tried to even point point that out to him. I was like, how can you guys deny it? Like, it's like right there in your face. Like, they're slapping you with it. It's like.
Did you see how many times they stopped the clock? I think they did it in 3 out of the 4 quarters. They stopped the clock at 2:39. 239 is the 50-second prime. The Niners are now 5-2, and the Niners now have 239 points scored in Super Bowls.
Wow, I missed that.
And the last time these teams played each other was September 23rd, 2018, when Jimmy G got his knee hurt.
Wow, 23-9.
They stopped it in at least 3 of the 4 quarters at 2:39 left on the clock.
I totally missed that, man.
For anyone who DVR'd the game, go back and watch. I know they stopped it on 2:39 in at least 3 out of the 4 quarters. They did it in the 4th, I believe the 3rd and the 2nd, or it might have been the 1st, 2nd, and 4th. It was one of those, but 3 out of the 4 quarters they stopped the clock on 2:39.
Oh my God, man! These people are sick, man. So yeah, man. I don't know. Keep up the good work. Hope everything in New Orleans is going good, man.
It is going good. It's been great. So.
Right on, man. All right, have a good night.
All right, take care, man.
Bye.
Alrighty, True Seeker. Let me check in with the chat real quick. Let me see what's going on in the chat. They stopped it at 2:22. I'm sure they did. They did all sorts of stops by the numbers. Caller?
All right. Hi, Zach.
What's up?
This is Finley from California.
What's up, man?
Hey, all the numbers aside, if you look when the Chiefs were down 20-10, the pass that Mahomes threw where nobody was within 15 yards of him, and it was a lame duck. I'm not kidding you. And 3 49ers receivers stood there and watched that guy go get underneath it like it was a punt and catch it. And then the call they made on the receiver right at the end of the first half, and the timeouts didn't go down right as far as how you would call timeout when that first half was ending. But that's just on the practical side of it. But I connected the golf tournament today to it in a huge way. And watching Tony Finau doing a huge ritual to Kobe Bryant, and then Webb Simpson winning the tournament on the 33rd day of the year, Simpson 33, Webb Simpson 137, the 33rd prime, and a whole connection to the football game. But what I'm calling to tell you is they did another one of those ritual numerical deals at the golf tournament.
Well, that's what they do every week. Again, for people who don't know, the entire world of sports is scripted. I hate when people say you can't script golf. Of course you can. It's like we had Tigers as a lock to win the Masters last year. Well, what's the greatest golfer? Who's the guy they say is the greatest golfer ever? I'm tired right now. I can't think of his name.
I want to say Ben Crenshaw or Hogan.
No.
Ben Hogan.
No, it's neither of them. It's neither of them. Whoever the guy that's routinely referred to as the greatest golfer, he has the quote that if you want to lose a golf tournament, you do it on the 12th hole. And Tiger was trailing when he won the Masters. They all put it in the water on the 12th hole, and no doubt all on purpose. And for people to say, well, why would these guys lose on purpose? Look at how go look at golfers' earnings, the names of people you've never heard of before. Golfers you've never heard of in your life who placed like 50th at best. Go look at their career PGA earnings, millions and millions of dollars. It's just like professional athletes. These people are being paid a ton. It's a privilege to be on the tour, and I'm sure to be on the tour, you have to be part of the club and be willing to put it in the drink when it's somebody else's day to be the winner. So, yeah, the whole world of sports is fixed, and I don't know how anyone can deny it.
So, explaining to my friends on the practical side, because I took them back to the fake punt of the Texans game at the 50-yard line. There's no way.
Just real quick,
way you could do that.
Just real quick, everybody in the chat's writing Jack Nicklaus. Yeah, that's whose quote it is. He's considered the greatest golfer. There we go.
Yeah. But this tournament was all about Hogan 33 in a 33 ritual around the Chiefs, the Indians, the burial ground. And if you can't see it, it's crazy how simple it is. And when you watch the game, I explained to my friends 3 or 4 times, you don't even need to know Gematria nowadays to watch these clowns.
Well, I never needed Gematria to see that sports were rigged. I saw it as a child. But, yeah, Gematria it shows you exactly what they're doing, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I got to show them that, look, today I made $1,200 off Webb Simpson, and I made $1,200 off the Chiefs and the under.
Nice.
And see, that was connected huge to the golf tournament too, because today all the scores were real low scores all day today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they talked about it, and when they got to the end of the tournament, they kept saying, he's 2 strokes with 2 holes with 2 this, 2 that, and then they say another sentence, and then they go back to the 2, 2, 2. And I just kept saying, they're just telling us right now the Chiefs are going. Andy Reid is going.
Yeah, it was a 2 show on 2-2. It's all numbers based, and everyone should see that the significance of the number rituals, especially with what's going on in the NBA right now, with all the stories about how this player scored 24 for Kobe, this player scored 24 for Kobe, this player took 24 shots for Kobe. It's like, do you guys think the NBA is real? You think the coach is like, okay, you know what? Yeah, just hoist up 24 shots for Kobe. Who cares if we win or lose tonight? I mean, it's just such a joke, man.
No, yesterday not the Jazz, the Spurs were down by 20 points, and they came back and won in the 4th quarter by 24 points. And the ending score of the game was connected. Everything was connected with that game with the Super Bowl.
Right. Man,
I can't thank you enough for what you taught me. That's just crazy how you could just see the writing on the wall.
Indeed. And yeah, we've even dominated golf. For people who think you can't dominate golf with this knowledge, you're wrong. We've been doing it. So.
No, I sat down this weekend and dominated this golf tournament. And it was all on the knowledge that you taught me, and I dominated this tournament. I took Scott Piercy to go top 10, top 20, and top 10, and he rocked out. And it was all because his numbers lined up perfect.
Well,
he was 41 years old.
Oh, there you go, Super Bowl.
He had connections to 37, like you wouldn't believe. He had connections to 54. If you write Scott Piercy, you get 54.
Right.
And then he had connections to 52, and he had a 153 connection, and I think even a 126 connection, which was Kobe died on 126.
Right. Yep. There you go.
So I picked that golf tournament to pieces. And then they were walking around in Kobe jerseys, and they were 52 yards from the pin and 37 yards from the pin all day long.
There you go. Well, congratulations, man. Congratulations, yeah, you're doing it, man. Keep it up. Glad to hear that.
So, and I plugged into Rod on Patreon, and that's been a real groove too, and been real good. His picks have been real steady. So
for people
I
want to make this point about Rod. The man he's talking about, Rod, right now. I've passed on the torch to Rod and Victor for doing daily picks for the time being, because they're both people who call into my show actively for the time I've been doing it, so I know they're dedicated to the work. But Rod actually found me last year. He saw the video I made for Super Bowl 53, and he was intrigued, so he signed up for Patreon, and he listened to every live stream all year, took notes, learned, and then started practicing applying it to himself, or applying the knowledge himself, and he has gotten really good at making picks in just a year's time of studying this. And it didn't take him a year to get good. I mean, he got good after like 3 or 4 months, and he's just gotten better and better. And anyone can do this. And the difference between Rod and the people who come here and think this is all bullshit, well, the difference is Rod's made a whole bunch of money this year, whereas the people who think it's a bunch of bullshit probably continue to get burned thinking sports are real and making logical bets. Like, for example, my dad. I told my dad not to bet on the 49ers, but he went out and bet on the 49ers. I said they have a chance. I mean, they have some narratives, but I said there's a whole lot that lines up for the Chiefs. So my dad thinks the games are real, just like the guy I told you about earlier, Broderick. My dad and Broderick were the same. They're like, the Niners are too good. Their defense is too good. Their running game's too good. And I said to my dad, well, look at the Titans. Nobody could stop Travis Henry until all of a sudden he faced that Chiefs defense, and then he just couldn't run at all. It's all scripted, so it's all scripted.
So, Zach, I can't thank you enough for going through and doing what you do, man. It's beautiful, and it is waking people up. I had a hush order at my job because they didn't want to hear what I had to say. But little by slowly, by just only just talking to certain people, now I got people at work coming to me and asking me, what about this? What about that? What do you think about the impeachment?
Right. Show them how it's synced up with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I showed them about that too, but usually I try to steer them away from that, and I go, hey, I like to get you interested by talking about sports, but let's talk about what's really going on, you dummy,
Right.
Now that I got your interest, so.
Right.
And if you see what's really going on, then you can pick sports right off like picking fruit off the produce counter.
Indeed. Somebody in the chat right now is saying, okay, I get that they're doing this, but why? Again, for that person, I already said that at the beginning of the video. You probably weren't here, and I have a book about it. The reason they do this is because they are the Cabal. They're into Kabbalah, and Kabbalah says God controls the world with letters, numbers, and words. This is how they're controlling the world, by using what they believe is God's code. So.
Well, the Romans did it.
It goes all the way back to Babylon. It's older.
It's
It's older than the Romans, but yes, the Romans did do it. It goes all the way back to Babylon. So, yeah.
And so that's just the way it is. They're the king's games. That's all we need to tell those people. These are the king's games.
Right. Well, friend, I appreciate it. I'm going to get off, though. I need to pass out because I'm super tired.
Man.
All right.
You're the greatest. Later, bro.
All right, man. Take care. Congrats. Yeah, and I'm gonna wait until it's 2:22 to sign off, just because of all the twos. It only seems fitting. But my buddy from college, he got mad at me and he said, Zach, you got to stop putting out how you're doing this, because you're just creating competition, and you're gonna have people that are gonna take this knowledge and try to take away from what you're doing. And I don't care, you guys. I mean, I told him, I said, well, to me, I'm trying to help people. I want to put this knowledge out there so that people can improve their own situation. I don't want to charge a lot for it. And ultimately, my goal isn't to make money. Yeah, I do need money to further this movement, because it takes resources to do things like be in New Orleans and do what I'm doing right now to, make signs and travel around. I mean, it does take resources, but I'm not after money. I'm after changing things. And if more people are spreading this awareness, what I want more than $1 million, if you will, is to see that nobody shows up for any of these football games anymore. Nobody buys any more Super Bowl tickets. That's what I'm after. Stop giving money to tyrants. Anyway, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Thank you, everyone who stayed up late to listen. And I'll be more rested next time I present. Have a good night, Truth Seeker.